Making Up Your Own Mind Thinking Effectively Through Creative Puzzle Solving by Edward B. Berger. Intentional learning. Effective learning requires the experience of doing, practicing, making mistakes, and thinking through ideas. This leads to you generating your own thoughts and making up your own mind. Regard learning instead as a journey of self-discovery. Effective thinking includes the objective analysis that is typically associated with critical thinking but also includes broader modes of creativity, originality, engagement, and empathy. Approach learning as an interconnected, multidisciplinary exploration of what interests you. Learn past it and beyond it into other subjects as you connect it to a greater understanding and reinforcement of learning. Connecting learning in one area to other disciplines brings the thrill of illumination and the profound enjoyment of gaining knowledge. The ultimate goal is not to solve the riddle at hand, but rather to apply multiple practices of effective thinking to see that puzzle in as many different ways as possible even after a solution is discovered. You face many puzzles in your life. Whether you cast them as problems or opportunities, they require thought to resolve. The more divergent your thinking, the better. You can and should practice working through problems. Don't focus only on solving them and moving on. Think about the many ways you can approach each challenge and consider it differently. Effective thinking and critical thinking. Thinking effectively requires combining analysis with your emotions and your creativity. To achieve that goal, apply the 5 elements of effective thinking. Understand deeply. You never simply understand a thing or don't understand it. Understanding exists on a continuum. You always possess a degree of understanding. You can always learn more to understand better. Having this mindset helps when you don't understand most of a complicated issue. It opens your mind and gives you confidence that you can improve your understanding. Reduce the problem down to what you do grasp. Gradually build from there to understand a little more of the issue at a time. Look for underlying patterns that might help explain the whole thing. Use a variety of adjectives to describe the issue, problem, or opportunity in as many ways as you can. Think deeply about each of your descriptors. Fail effectively. Zero in on discrete aspects of the issue or puzzle. Try possible solutions even knowing you'll fail. Learn from each failure so you increase your understanding. Every misstep will reveal something that advances your thinking. Cycle through your failures quickly. Don't procrastinate. For example, if you want to write a short article, start writing. Even a miserable first draft provides a better start than a blank page. Expect to keep failing. Examine and learn from each failure. By planning to fail, you enable yourself to see the puzzle differently each time. Create questions. Think about questions. Ask, what if? Even if you don't ask all your questions, formulating them helps you consider alternatives. Asking questions ensures that you address the right issues and see the big picture. Play devil's advocate, too, by taking an opposite position on the issues or puzzles as you think through them. Go with the flow of ideas, follow through on your new thoughts and ideas, and connect them with your previous thinking. Consider what flows from your ideas by asking, what comes next? Explore every idea through to the end, and consider multiple perspectives. Follow your doubts. Don't ignore them. Stay open-minded to alternatives. Be open to change. All people are truly capable of change. Part of learning involves understanding that changing turns you into a better version of yourself. Change incrementally but constantly. The puzzles. Consider each of the following puzzles, for example. Think them through methodically from as many angles as possible using each of the 5 thinking processes. Take your time before reading onward after the puzzles to the suggested approaches and hints provided below them. Commit to being open to new templates of thinking and modes of analysis. Turn off your devices. Find a quiet place. Prepare yourself by remembering to take your time. Resist the seemingly easy answers so you can think through each puzzle even if you've seen it before and know the solution. Solving the puzzles almost doesn't matter. Your thinking process matters much more. Who's who? 2 college students, a math major and a philosophy major, are having a conversation. The one with black hair introduces himself as a math major. The one with red hair introduces herself as a philosophy major. At least one of these students is lying. What color hair does the one claiming to be a math major have? 3 switches, 2 rooms and 1 bulb. You enter a room with 3 light switches, all in the off position. One of the switches controls a lamp in a room you can't see down a twisted hallway. 5 elements, but only 4 hats. 4 students line up in a row. An opaque, non-reflective screen separates students A and B, who face it on opposite sides. Student A wears a black hat. Student B wears a gold hat. Student C, wearing a black hat, stands behind Student B. Student D, wearing a gold hat, stands behind Student C. The students know that each one of them is wearing a hat that's either black or gold. They know that there are exactly 2 black and 2 gold hats, but they don't know the color of their own hats. Students A and B, facing the screen, also don't know the color of anyone else's hat. Student C, standing behind B, knows B's hat color. Student D, behind B and C, knows both of their hat colors. The students can't speak or touch. They will win $100 each if one correctly states the color of his or her own hat within 10 minutes. After a minute, one student knows for sure the color of his or her hat and shouts it out. Which student speaks up, and what color hat is the student wearing? Puzzling politicians. 100 politicians are in a meeting. You know that at least one is honest and that within any given pair, at least one is crooked. How many politicians are crooked? Penny for your thoughts. Some pennies sit on a table. Blindfolded, you count them. A researcher tells you how many lie heads up. Otherwise, you have no way of knowing. You can move the pennies around and turn them over. The researcher asks you to divide them into 2 groups, each with an equal number heads up. Can you do it? If so, how? A cross farmer needs to cross a river. Farmer Francis stands on the bank of a river with a rabbit, a fox and a bunch of carrots. He must get them all across, but his raft is only big enough for himself and 1 passenger or item. If he leaves the fox and the rabbit together, the fox will kill the rabbit. If he leaves the rabbit with the carrots, the rabbit will eat them. The fox and the rabbit won't run away if Francis leaves them alone together. How can Francis get himself, the fox, the rabbit and the carrots across safely? The crazy and exceptionally obnoxious CEO. You love your job, but you have a terrible boss. The boss decides to downsize. He brings everyone to a meeting. He says that the next morning, you and your teammates will line up one behind the other. He will place either a red or a green hat on each of your heads. You will only see the color of the hat on the heads of the people in front of you, not on your own head nor on the people behind you. You will be given a buzzer with a red button and a green button. The boss will ask the last person in line the color of his or her hat. That person will use his or her buzzer to say whether it's red or green. After pressing the button, a loudspeaker will state red or green, according to the button the employee pushed. The boss will immediately and loudly fire you if you're wrong, but he'll send you back to work if you're right. He will move on to the next employee in line and ask the same question. You can't speak during the process or share information other than pressing the buttons. That evening, you and your teammates get together to discuss a strategy that will result in the fewest firings the next morning. What is it? Suggested approaches. Don't compartmentalize your thinking by moving from discrete topic to discrete topic. Think through each topic, borrow ideas from one discipline to gain insight, connections, and even epiphanies. A vivid perspective on each puzzle lies within each of the descriptions above. It's there if you think patiently and effectively. Try these tactics. Who's who? Examine each word carefully, even when they seem unimportant. Think through each option. What does it mean that at least one of these students is lying? Go through the 5 effective thinking mindsets. The puzzle says, one is a math major, the other, a philosophy major. These facts, plus the fact that one lies, means neither tells the truth. 3 switches, 2 rooms and 1 bulb. Start by throwing ideas out, any idea, no matter how absurd. Could you solve this puzzle blindfolded? Think about that to consider alternatives to discerning whether a lamp turns on. Slow down. What else can a light bulb do besides produce light? 5 elements, but only 4 hats. Put yourself in the position of each student, one by one. Try to see what they see and tap into what they think. Puzzling politicians, you have 4 certainties. Think through each to gain a more complete picture. For the statements to hold, at least one politician is honest. But in any given pair, at least one is crooked. Consider that the honest politician can pair with any of the others. Penny for your thoughts. Consider a smaller number of pennies being on the table. What if you had only 2 or 3? Try to find a rule that works no matter the number of pennies. A cross farmer needs to cross a river. Think counterintuitively. Don't consider only the order of the things that Francis will take across the river. Think about the opposite journey. He can bring an animal or item that he took one way back again the other way. Neither the fox nor the rabbit nor the carrots have to travel in only one direction. The crazy and exceptionally obnoxious CEO. Consider the information you have now and will gain as the process begins. You will know the color of the hat on everyone in line in front of you. As the CEO announces whether a person has been fired, you learn the color of the hats behind you, one by one. By your turn, you will know the color of every hat behind you and every hat in front of you, but you won't know the color of your own. Think about what data you may be able to share with your teammates in front of you, knowing the information you have at the precise time the boss asks you to choose. It helps to think small at first. For example, what if you only had a few other teammates with you in line? Put yourself in the shoes of the person in the very back. Think about what he or she sees and how many ways you can describe it. Make a list of those things, and think about what the person in the back can convey with such limited communications options. Effective thinking. Slow down to think deeply, to think through challenges, to seek many perspectives, and to resist jumping to a quick or obvious solution. Learning to do this takes patience and practice. The payoff in developing this level of mindfulness extends to your personal relationships outside work. Turn off your devices, and turn off your busy mind. Give your brain what it needs to regenerate, to make new connections and to see things differently. To learn effectively, you have to take action and responsibility for your own learning. Look for challenges, think through them, and talk to people about their challenges and how they addressed them. Ask a lot of questions. Practice all these elements to become an even better version of you. The mind needs an opportunity to settle and recharge in order to operate as effectively, wisely, creatively, and joyfully as possible. Takeaways. Don't let gaining a credential and landing a job distract you from the true purpose of a formal education. The useful lifespan of skills decreases constantly. Continually strive to develop your ability to think effectively. Practice by applying the 5 elements of effective thinking. First, aim to understand deeply. Admitting that you don't understand things puts you in a mindset to learn. Second, fail effectively. Try things and falter, but learn a little each time you don't succeed. Third, create questions. Think slowly through each of the many specifics that present you with an issue or challenge. Fourth, go with the flow of ideas. Connect your thinking. Think through a topic to connect it with other disciplines, ideas, and subjects. Fifth, be open to change. Keep an open mind. Be willing to see things differently. Take charge of your learning. Don't wait for others to educate you. Slow down, unplug your devices, and ease your daily flurry of brain activity. Think, reflect, connect, and let your mind renew and recharge. Please like, share, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.